All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Nosedive. We have two very special guests on the podcast today. We've got Liz Wolfe, who is a writer, editor, and co-founder of She's on Edge. We've got Nadia Klincewicz.
Oh, you have it.
Community health worker and co-founder of She's on Edge. We wanted to bring them on the podcast to really showcase their bold initiative of this women's surf and skate collective, which is typically a very male-dominated space. You know, they've done such an incredible job of collaborating with other community partners and being super inclusive and making the barrier to entry to the surf and skate community really accessible and inviting for everybody. From people who have zero experience to very seasoned skaters and surfers. So welcome, Liz and Nadia.
Thank you guys so much for having us. We're stoked to be here.
So tell us a little bit about She's on Edge. We know it's Charleston based, all women surf and skate collective, hosting monthly meetups for women, as we said, of all ages, all skill levels. Mara is super familiar, of course, as a part of your community. What was that spark that kind of led to finding and founding this collective?
Yeah, so I guess the best place to start really is to talk a little bit about how Nadia and I first met. So in 2022, after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, Nadia took it upon herself to reach out to some community partners. This is all pre She's on Edge. She's on Edge was just like not even a shimmer in our eyes yet. But she reached out to a couple community partners to host a paddle out, which she cleverly called Paddle Against the Patriarchy, just as a way to bring together not just women, but people in the community to talk about the issues around bodily autonomy and to collectively grieve and just talk about some of the other heavy things that being a woman entails. And I saw the promotion for it and was like, yep, I'm going to that. I had never met Nadia before, but I had the opportunity to meet her that day. And it was just a really powerful gathering of women. And a lot of what we discussed really centered around what surfing in particular empowers us to do throughout the rest of our lives, and just some of the heaviness that comes with being a woman, and how a lot of us are kind of lacking that space or that place for us to go to together, to really feel emboldened and fearless, and like we can fuck up and it's okay and we're learning and growing. And so I was working at McKevlin's at the time. Shout out McKevlin's. And Nadia came
a
in
local
to look
surf
at
shop
boards.
for those who don't know.
Surf shop on Folly Beach in South Carolina. And Nadia came in and was like, talking about the paddle out and saying, I think we should create a surf group out of that. I mean, the conversation just like lended itself to something like that should exist. And I was like, well, I know you don't really know me, but if you're down, like I would love to help you start something like that. And so we had lunch at Jack of Cups a few days later, some ginger pumpkin soup, and the rest was just kind of history. We were like, all right, let's create a space for women to surf and skate together.
That's such a wholesome scene too, by the way. You're like, yes, we're sharing soup together and like
just one bowl.
The trajectory.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of planning and evolution has gone into what She's on Edge is now, but that's kind of like foundationally how it all started.
Wow. Yeah. No, I had no idea. So that's so cool. I didn't know it started with that initiative. And I love that that's what started it. And I even wrote down beforehand that I wanted to talk about the paddle out specifically because I know in your marketing efforts, you have communicated like, this isn't just for women. Like, can you break that down for us? Like, because that word in itself holds so much weight, and people just get so defensive, like about so many things when we talk about political stuff and people's rights and everything like that. So Can you kind of break that down for us? Like why and how should everyone show up to an event like that?
Yeah. The paddle out is almost like the way we saw it was doing like community research on what are our biggest needs right now. Like checking in, it's like an annual time to check in with ourselves, and centering marginalized communities. And so obviously the demographic that we are a part of, that we are able and easiest access to is women in the served community. So that's kind of who we were working with at that moment. But the paddle out really emphasizes listening closely to marginalized voices and using those marginalized voices to help determine the plan on how we can move forward together to work towards a more liberated culture. And I know that's like a lot of jargon, but more specifically, like when we're thinking about what came up in the first paddle out, we had a lot of conversations about body dysmorphia and body image issues. We have conversations about people struggling with sobriety and substance use, people who have fallen into relationships and lost their community and lost their friends. And we realized that this isn't just unique to women or marginalized communities, but it definitely is more prevalent in these areas. And so we kind of wanted to frame it as people who are affected most should be coming up with the solutions, but we need everybody on board because these things are affecting everybody. So we wanted to center women and women's voices, but we also need everybody participating for us to dismantle some of these harmful things that we're experiencing. And I know that the word patriarchy is in itself really polarizing because it has that root word like father, potter, man, and it makes it sound like it's anti-men. But really, it's just anti-power over, so anti-oppressive cultures. So anybody that is experiencing discomfort because somebody put something on them. So for example, if we're using body dysmorphia as an example, diverse bodies in and of itself is not an unhealthy trait. A fat body is not an unhealthy trait. But because of this patriarchal system, a lot of it has to do with capitalism. We have been told these messages over and over our whole lives that we aren't good enough or we aren't perfect. And what perfect is was really created by somebody that wasn't ourselves. We didn't define what perfect was. So now we're striving to be this thing that we don't even agree with, that doesn't really even align with our values. So the idea is when we get together, we're going to try and get to the root of like, what do we really care about? Is it looking a certain way or is it feeling a certain way about how we are? And being able to spread that message from the inside out and kind of change the trajectory of where we are and how we feel with ourselves.
I love that distinction too of like patriarchy, because that's something that I feel like it's something that I kind of knew in the back of my mind, but to be able to articulate it in a way that's like, it's not just like men shaming, like there's a lot of really influential men in my life that I look up to, that I value and respect. And so I really, really appreciate you kind of like breaking that down, because it's bigger than that. So
it's so complex.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the patriarchy is a system. It's not a person or a group of persons. And so we really do want to emphasize like men are detrimentally impacted by the patriarchy as well. And like you can see it in our culture today. There's a male loneliness epidemic. And some people might say, well, women have got enough issues without worrying about men. But at the same time, it's like, one, let's have a little empathy and compassion. And two, we can't be fully liberated and have equity in the society if we're not also, giving that same olive branch to them and that same compassion and care. So it's definitely a team effort, and we're trying annually to just continue to spread the message that it's not just a women's event for men bashing, because that's not at all. I keep losing my earbuds.
You're fine. You're good. No, you're good. It's part
Her
of the
ears
process.
are falling off.
I know, it's like I have skinny ears. What can I say? No, kidding. That's the patriarchy.
Well, that's the patriarchy. You need better earphones. Add that.
Girl,
to
if it was the patriarchy, we'd be like, damn, your ear holes are so tight. They are just...
I know. She can't even keep her earbuds in. Oh my God.
Oh, fuck.
That's fantastic. But hence the word collective, though, like that's super important to emphasize. Yeah.
It was interesting when you brought up like the stigma around the word patriarchy. It's just so interesting how there are so many words that just hold like the connotation of a word, and how powerful language can be, or just like how the history of the meaning behind the word, is. Mm-hmm. And, we face that too when we talk about like sober, curious lifestyle, and people hear sober and it's like, whoop, not me. Like, and it's like, hold on, wait. Like, and that's why we shifted from just the concept of numbing less and living more, because it's like the connotation and the stigma of that word, we're trying to like reclaim it, and being like, no, there's the word curiosity is following it. It's like being just more open to the concept. And yeah, I just thought that was interesting, just like how one little fucking word can really just like deter people.
Yeah, people get so hung up on it, and then it's like hard out, and it's like, no, but wait, I think you'll really enjoy this conversation.
Right. So, come in.
Can't please everybody. So we're just trying to be authentic and welcoming, and I mean, that's pretty much all we can do.
Yeah. I went to one of the paddle outs. I think it was like 2 years ago now. But it was so cute with like the bucket of flowers and like paddling out with that. I don't know why. I just remember that specifically, and meeting a couple people that I'm still in contact today with. So again, it's always a very collaborative, open space that you guys hold. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And this year we shifted a little bit. We kind of changed to be really intentional. At one point we were trying to have these like really intense conversations in the water, and the waves are huge for some reason. Every year the conditions are just like out of sorts. Waves are huge, wind is blowing, and everyone's like trying to feel my feelings. And no one can hear you, but it's like
exactly.
So this year we were a little more intentional. We like broke up into smaller groups and did some group work, and we were talking about different identities and intersectionality of different identities, and kind of recognizing what privileges we hold and how we can extend that power in uplifting other identities. And it was really interesting. It was really cool to hear from everybody with a more moving intentionally in that space.
Yeah.
Before we get into kind of what your monthly meetups might look like, for someone who's never participated, can both of you kind of give us a little background about how you got into surfing and skating, and how that's been being a woman in that space?
Sure. So I started skating quite a few years ago. Please don't let that fool you into thinking I'm any kind of good at skating. I just love to do it. It's very fun and freeing. But I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time, and I couldn't even tell you why or how, but I got myself a board and just started cruising around my neighborhood, and brought it with me to Charleston when I moved here in 2016 with my now husband. And he got into surfing pretty much as soon as we moved here. And I grew up as a dancer and, played tennis.
Me too. I didn't know that.
Really?
Oh my God, that's so
Look
funny.
at us. But yeah, surfing, I grew up in PA, so surfing was not a part of my childhood. And so it just didn't even seem, it's not like I was like, oh, that's a men's sport, but I just was like, it doesn't seem like my deal. And so I go watch him surf. I hate saying that. I go like collect shells. I wasn't like, oh my God, watch him surf. It's so amazing. But like, I would be out there and I was like, he is having the time of his life. Like, I got to try this. And so, I rented a board and I went out with him a couple times and I liked it enough that I was like, all right, I'm gonna get like a fiberglass board. I'm invested. I'm sold. And then things kind of took a turn because obviously there's a learning curve with getting a fiberglass board. And I was just very frustrated at my inability to like match him in terms of skill. And instead of just taking a beat and realizing like this is an extreme sport that takes time to really hone, I just kind of was looking at it as some flaw that I had. Like I was somehow incapable of mastering this thing that he figured out like that. And, you know, that's how it felt at the time. So instead of quitting, which would have been my normal MO, I took some time to surf by myself and with some girlfriends who I knew that also surfed. And it was just interesting how that dynamic then shifted for me. And it became less about me focusing on what I lacked and more focusing on like what I was gaining and how much fun I was having being absolutely ridiculous eating shit. And once that flip switched, it was like game over for me. I'm hooked. And now I can say I happily surf with anyone, including my husband, and have a good time. But yeah, it was definitely a journey.
It's a new skill.
Yeah.
Resiliency, though. It's like that's such a good lesson for all of us who are trying something new. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Question for Liz. So did you start in 2016 when you moved here, or how much longer before you started?
So it was honestly, it wasn't until 2018. So it was a solid 2 years before I got into surfing. And then I would say that it wasn't until 2022 that I was like feeling good about, you know, not necessarily good in terms of my skill level, but just good about like, I belong here and I have every right to be here as much as the next person, even though I'm still very much a beginner, even though I'm still very much learning. So yeah, it took me a little bit, but it was worth it.
Yeah, no, I love that. How you bring in the playfulness aspect and how once you really took on that perspective, things changed for you, because I can relate to that as well.
She's a smurfer.
I'm a smurfer, baby.
Yeah, you are.
You know? But yeah, like it was, I didn't grow up around waves either. I'm from Miami, 0 fucking waves. And I had a boyfriend at the time who was like, come on, you can surf. You want to try? And I would just be like, no, for like at least a solid year. And the true honesty behind that is it's probably body dysmorphia stuff. Like I was like, I don't want him to see like my thighs a certain way when I stand on the surfboard, like literally stopped me. And I love playing in the ocean. I love playing in the waves. It wasn't about fear of water. It was fear of my body being seen in a way that I didn't want it to be seen. And once I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like maybe I look like a seal. I don't know. I don't care, but I'm going to have fun. I'm going to fucking smurf and we're going to have a good time. And that's how I feel. And I really resonate with that mindset shift of like, let's just have fun. You don't even have to be good. That's not what it's about. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's so love to hear that. Nadia?
Mara, that story really, like I, through college was lifeguarding out on Folly, and like the beach lifeguards have to go through this crazy training. Like you have to run a ton, workouts are intense, like it's just wild. And I was a freshman, maybe a sophomore in college, and like mid-training, I went to the bathroom to go fix my eyeliner. Like I literally like wiped it off and put more on. And the head trainer at the time, who's still a really good friend of mine, I came back and he's like, Nadia just went to the bathroom to fix her eyeliner. Like called it out in front of everyone. And I was mortified. I was like, that was the lamest thing I've ever done. And now I have so much empathy for my younger self of being like, I was in the middle of one of the most physically strenuous situations my body has ever been through, but I was still worried about looking ugly for who, for what.
Yeah.
Like, I think people really underestimate the pressure that women feel to look good all the time, even when they're not. Like,
Yes.
you're getting smashed in the face by waves. You're trying to learn something you suck at.
Yeah. Everybody looks like a rat wet. Like, we all just need to accept that. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
But my surfing journey, so I'm from Philadelphia, so also from up north, no waves, always wanted to be a little surfer girl, was so scared of the ocean when I was little, was never going to be a surfer girl in that mindset. But ended up moving abroad, and every time I'd go somewhere with waves, I would try it. And, I think it's a classic surfer story where you think you're surfing and you're not, for a very long time. Like, every time you look back, you're like, wow, I thought I was really good. And then you weren't. So pandemic hit, I had moved back to Charleston, and I was looking for a job in public health. And through some public health mentors, I ended up getting connected with Isla Surf School. And they're like, well, you're looking for a job. Why don't you teach surf lessons? So I was just teaching surf lessons. I still was very mid surfer, but I knew how to tell people what to do. I was better at vicariously surfing. I can coach you on how to do it, but I probably can't do it that well myself. And that was just really a transformative time for my surfing and just for my attitude. It was also a huge grind, physically really grueling, being out there every single day, 7 days a week, just in the water, in the conditions, no matter what. But really gratifying, cheering people on, being happy for people. You're constantly in the moment, because whatever you have is whatever you have until you're done for the day. And then you get really good at reading waves and just being out in the elements and understanding what a wave's going to do and being able to learn from other people's mistakes. And so from that, my trajectory of surf skill went up. So I enjoyed it a lot more. And then I really didn't get into skating until the pandemic, and I still feel pretty lukewarm about skating. It's something that I like to be in community with people, and I'll do it, but don't really spend my own time skating. One time we went to the bowl, and I literally, if I wasn't wearing a helmet, my brains would be all over that thing.
She would be all cats down, dead. Yeah.
Oh
victory fall hard.
But you were rolling into a bowl, so it's not like you just slipped on concrete, just gliding around. You were doing something badass, but yes, you almost died.
Did not look
there to witness it.
Oh my! Wait, where were you at Skate Charleston?
Yeah. Wow. One and only time.
First and last. Yeah, no wonder you're like, I'm not gonna really do it on my own time.
One hit wonder.
Oh my God.
But I mean, with She's on Edge, when we talk about skating, we're really not talking about hardo going into bowls and dropping in, even though some of the girls in the club do that. We're really just cruising, chatting. It's a way to spend time together and be in community when you're not in the water surfing. Because I think surfing has a few barriers to entry that is slightly less accessible than rolling. We say all wheels welcome, so you don't really need a surfboard or a skateboard. You can be on a bike. There are people that have come and just walk next to us. There are slow people. Myself, I'm happy to walk with anybody.
Yeah. I love that. Y'all should have entertaining Mara and I the last time we were longboarding. It was quite entertaining.
Do tell.
Oh my God.
Did we hit the ground?
Did we hit the what?
No, the ground.
The ground.
I don't think either of us fell. We definitely hit some little bumps in the road, as you would probably think, but it was just super fun. Someone even helped us out and was like, the kick push and all this shit, and Mara's like, don't stop looking at the ground, Renee, stop looking in front of you gotta look ahead. And I'm like,
Here I am trying to tell you to do something that, again, I can't really do.
And
that
Mara's
well
over
myself.
here like this, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Surfboard fairy.
We always say my number one quote is, comparison is a thief of joy. You mind your business.
It's so
let
true.
Mara be an angel baby.
Dude,
I'll take your 2 cents.
No, but the thing is, I can kick push and put my hands up in the air and let them flow, but that's all. I don't know how to carve. I don't know how to, any of that shit. I want to take some lessons. Granted, there's so much I could learn about everything. I'm curious for you all, what, when you're surfing, why why did you like fall in love with surfing? If that sounds cheesy, I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like, what do you feel when you're on the water? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, I feel very, as cheesy as it might sound, cheesy response to a cheesy question, I guess.
We
But
love
and it's
cheese.
We love
and
the
it's not.
cheese.
If you're not cheesing, you're not living.
Yeah.
Facts.
For real.
So, I feel courageous. I feel fearless, and that doesn't mean I have no fears when I'm surfing. There are things that happen that scare me all the time, but um, I just find in my day-to-day life, and Nadia will attest to this, I'm a little type A, little anal retentive, and I have a lot of things that give me anxiety. But when I am in the water and on the board and going down the line, it's like all of that mess and nonsense just goes out the window, and I'm like the freest I've ever been and the most fearless. And it just reminds me what I am capable of in all aspects of my life. And it's just like a nice little hug from the universe.
Mm,
So that's what I feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Me too.
That was inspiring.
Oh,
Yeah, for me, I mean, Tara said it before, and I think it's such a funny thing to think about. Tara is a woman that surfs on like at the pier regularly, and she is just like kind of like a surf guru shaman, very inspiring person in my life, where she has been like a guiding light and being like, this is the person that brings community together. This is the attitude that I want to be able to hold with me when I'm surfing, even though I can never match her energy. I think she's just like very, very positive and has so much wisdom to bring. And she's been surfing. She's been a women's surfer on the Folly Beach community for so long. So I really look up to her. But she was like, when I'm surfing, I just feel like the coolest girl in the world. Like, it is just so cool. And I love that part of it. And I think it's so funny because sometimes you feel really, really, really uncool surfing. And so like sometimes you'll do something and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so, so, so cool. And then other times, actually most of the time, you're just beefing it and not doing things that are cool and you feel really lame. And in those moments to try and pivot and just like, it is really beautiful outside. The sunrise is gorgeous. The water feels amazing. And especially when you're with like all the homies and there's just like everyone's having so much fun in the water, like that's when it just feels like you're home. And I think you can feel that anywhere, which is really magical. Like you can travel somewhere and you can get that same feeling anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
there's also a third option where you feel really, really cool. And then someone was like, oh my God, I got a video of you doing that thing you thought was so cool. And then you just die a little inside.
Yeah.
It humbles you real quick.
The post humiliation.
Dude, the
Like, don't play it
photographers,
back.
the photographers out there at the pier all the time, like, you know, it's amazing because I see pictures of y'all. I'm like, wow, that's sick. They got a cool picture today. They got another cool picture. I'm like, there's Nadia, there's Donna, there's Lindsay. I'm like,
The gals.
This is so fun
Yeah.
to see you all. And Liz, I really resonate again with what you're saying. Like, it's like when you're surfing, and you're like paddling and going to stand up and catch the wave and going down the line, you have to be all there. It's really, really hard to be like doing all of that and then also thinking about my dog's eye doctor appointment at,
Yeah,
I'm like, what
exactly. Exactly.
And just having like that space and freedom and like calmness in my mind, it feels so nice.
Yeah. We recently did a night shoot with a local photographer called Cody Matthews, named. And I had never done anything like that before in my life, but essentially after sunset, like when it was basically pitch dark,
fucking spooky tunes.
Spooky tunes. He had a bunch of special lighting, and he was trying to do some really cool shadowing effects on a few of us while we were out surfing. And as terrifying as it sounds, it was honestly one of the coolest most liberating things I've ever done, because you could barely see the waves as they were coming. So you
Oh,
really had to trust each other and your instincts and your senses. And as soon as you popped up, you just had to fully trust your body and trust that like the decisions you were going to make on the board were going to keep you safe. And shockingly, we all were safe, and like it went off without a hitch, and the photos were so cool. But yeah, I mean, I just walked away from that being like you got to trust the process. You got to trust yourself,
mm.
because like you know more than you think you do innately, which was, I don't know, really cool. I don't know if Nadia, if you felt the same. Nadia was also there.
Yeah, I feel like in surfing, you can be your own worst enemy, like to the max. There's so many lessons you can take away when you're like doing surf analogies, but one of
Mm-hmm.
them is just like really trusting yourself. Like if you look down, you're gonna go down. If you visualize yourself falling, you're gonna fall. You need to believe in yourself and just trust that your board will carry you, the wave will carry you, and that you have the capability to be in that moment and not eat shit. And so it's like such a mind game. So much of surfing is such a mind game. And I think like doing it in the dark takes away that one element of like, um, oh my gosh, this is a big wave. Can I even make it? It's like, well, I
Mm.
have to because I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes away
Yeah.
that sense of sight
Hmm.
almost. Yeah. You really got to like
Hmm.
tap into that intuition. And I know Mara has talked about that too. Like that's where you kind of go, as you said, to really focus in that in intentionality and really a portal to your
Mm.
intuition, because you got to trust it.
Portals.
Portals.
Hmm.
Portals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's interesting, Nadia, like you were saying, the analogies and the parallels. Like every time, I can paddle out, I can be there for 30 minutes or 3 hours, and I come out of the water and I have so many things to reflect on that's outside of just that like little sesh or long sesh, that apply to so many dimensions of my life. And I think that's just so cool to be able to pull those like the commonalities all together from something
Hmm.
that's so immersive. And yeah, so cool.
Good.
Yeah, I
Good
mean,
stuff.
shameless plug. We have a
Ew.
magazine now, and it's called CLIT
Yes.
Magazine, the Charleston Literary Surf Magazine. The name clit is on purpose, obviously, because the clitoris is one of the points of the body that holds the most nerves, so making it a organ that only functions for pleasure and the pleasure of women and people with uteruses and clitorises. So Clit Mag is dropping our second edition on December 4th. And something that is cool about it is that each edition has a theme. And so it's been really magical to watch all of the women in the surf community coming up with these artistic expressions of like what they're learning in the water. You like come
Mm.
out and every time you have a new lesson learned. And it's so easy to just, I mean, it's making art is not easy, but it's just like flows so naturally. Having like lessons coming from the water and being able to point it to a certain theme is like, oh, no brainer. Like I can do it. I can talk about pleasure. I can talk about autonomy, because I've had so many experiences in the water that just shout that to me. If that
Mm.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Was
brought
there
up the magazine
Yeah, me
because I
too.
was going to.
Yeah, you were talking about
I
that,
jumped the
Mara. Was
gun.
was there no, it's like perfect segue. Was there ever any hesitation around releasing it like that?
Like
Like
with
The
a
with
name?
name that's
with a name?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like no, we knew when we decided on that name that it was definitely going to shock some people, but I think um, throughout the course of this whole process, we've had to process, meaning running and organizing She's on Edge. We've had to be brave in a lot of capacities. So I feel like by this point, we're just fully in support each other, fuck it mode. And the meaning really resonated for us. It was clever and hopefully will stick in people's minds. And so, yeah, I don't feel like we did have much hesitation around that name in particular.
No, I feel like
think
it was
it's
so exciting.
Yeah.
For like, no pun intended, it was like very exciting to land on that name. And there's so many ways we can play around with it. Like, where can you find the clit? And
Yes.
and I think it's really, it speaks to a big part of one of our pillars of what we want to do while we're in community is normalize things that can be empowering for women that are actually a lot of the time shamed. Like, you'll notice in our group that we're talking about pooping, we're talking about periods, we're talking about, you know, farting and body hair and all these things that are like very normal, natural, and healthy things for a human to be doing. But somebody somewhere decided that it was shameful or wrong for us to talk about it. And if we were more comfortable in it, then we're going to be experiencing a more full and liberated version of ourselves. So the name was really exciting for me.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
me too.
ditto.
It's pretty genius just from like a marketing, you know, standpoint. I'm like, yep. I was at
everybody wants a clit on their table.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know?
Hell yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was at the what's a new bookstore? Ladybird in Charleston.
Ladybird books.
Yeah. And I saw the CLIT mag. And I was like, oh, this looks great here. This looks great here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This year we cooked. It's really good. I'm so excited for the second edition.
I hope I hope I can go to that. The launch release party.
Yeah, what can they
it's at Sweatman's, right?
Sweatman's Garden, yep, from 6 to 9 p.m., which was actually a mistake. Like, someone the other day was like, oh, you guys are so intentional about everything you do, 6 to 9 p.m., wink, wink. And we were like, oh, we literally had no concept of that being a thing. But
genius. See, divine timing.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of what you can expect, obviously we'll have issues of the second edition of the mag. We have vendors, all of whom are contributors to the magazine in some capacity. So we've got artists, jewelers, well, I guess jewelers are artists, but like photographers, painters. And then we've got some really cool raffles. We have a local shaper who is shaping a surfboard that we're going to raffle off. And obviously we'll have cocktails, NA and regular. We'll have some food as well. So yeah, it's just going to be a good time. Loud music, happy people. It's co-ed. So bring your friends, bring your fellas.
Sounds sick.
We're stoked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome.
And it was so much fun designing that surfboard that's getting raffled. TC Boards. He shapes for oceans. He's out of Pawleys Island. And it's like, you know, we're not at the point yet where we have a woman shaper in Charleston, even though there might be some coming down the pipeline. But it's really cool to have like men supporting women. And they're like, you know, Tony has been like, you want what on the back of the board? I'm like, yeah, if you could just put surfers on the rag and then like send him the CLIT logo and it's like big. And yeah, it's going to be a gorgeous board. I'm super excited. So,
oh my gosh.
It's just fun watching people jump into support.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. That actually just reminded me of, remember Liz, when you,
oh God,
when someone came into I can't say the freaking name.
McEvlin's. It's okay. No one can.
McLovins. And I think this was the scenario. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the clam dragger.
Oh yeah.
Can you share that story?
That was a fun one. So I think to my recollection, a woman came in and I think she wanted to rent a board, or maybe her partner did, and she was like, all I could do was clam drag on that bad boy. It was like something like that. And I was like, expound. And she's like, you know, when you just ride the board on your stomach and just drag that clam straight to the beach. And I was like, I love that, and I love you. And probably that was pre-CLIT, so I'm sure that definitely planted a seed that grew into what would become CLIT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Surf Mag.
I think about it a lot. I don't know. I just think it's so fucking funny. So,
It's fantastic. It is so fantastic. What is something, so like, you know, your monthly meetups, kind of what do those look like? And, you know, what kind of surprised you most about getting that feedback? You know, Nadia, I know you kind of mentioned like you both were kind of looking for this space in reaction and to, you know, what was going on maybe politically and kind of in the atmosphere of the world. What has been some of the feedback from the women in the group, and what are kind of the things that you guys do on your monthly meetups?
Yeah, so our monthly meetups, we surf twice a month. So we surf one Saturday a month and then once under the full moon together. And then we have our skate meetups once a month, usually on a weekend evening. And everyone just kind of rocks up, and usually, I mean, we try and do a pretty good job of just going with the flow of what nature's offering. Like if there are really good waves and everyone's itching to go, we'll all go, and then we'll come back and meet each other when we get back. And usually just go around and say our names. Usually we'll have like a fun icebreaker question, and typically it ends in just like a really fun hang where you get to know people. We hope that people exchange numbers and get to know each other so they can carry on their relationships and the community outside of our group. But the thing that surprised me most was the commitment that some of the people that showed up have to building the community. I was under the impression that there were going to be people that wanted to utilize us as like a tool in the community, and people were going to want to show up. But what really surprised me is just like there are people that She's on Edge was really life-changing for them, and they're willing to give back in a way that is building the organization to make it better. This year we had the pleasure of expanding a board of directors and becoming an official 501c3 nonprofit. And so we have 8 individuals that were willing to really put time and dedicate themselves to the organization to make it better and to make it really community run and loved. And so we're just really, I'm really grateful. I know Liz is too, that people are backing what we do and the mission. They're willing to put their time in. I think time is so valuable right now, and people have so many things to do, and for them to be able to dedicate their time to this mission it means a lot to me.
Yeah, congrats. That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really important for us once we made the decision to become a 501c3 to, obviously you're mandated to have a board, but we always wanted to expand our leadership in some capacity because, you know, for as much as this thing is Nadia and my baby, you know, we don't want to exist in a vacuum. We're not the only 2 people whose opinions matter in this collective. It really is for the community, and we want it to be for the community by the community. And so having these 8 women join us and having such distinct and diverse voices helping shape what the community is saying it wants and needs has just been overwhelmingly powerful and beautiful. And so yeah, I share Nadia's gratitude for them and just for the group itself. I mean, it certainly changed my life. So
makes me want to move to Charleston.
Where are you?
I'm in Savannah.
Where are you? Oh, cool. Savannah's a great city.
Yeah, so not too far. But
You
last time I came, yeah, that's right. Yeah, totally. I mean, I last time I came to visit Mara, I was trying to get out there, and the waves were too big for me. I was like, no, maybe not this time. I'll just watch Mara and go have fun.
I'm like, Nay, get your camera. Take pictures of me.
I know. I was like, you got it, dude. I got you. I've got all the content.
That is friendship. Yeah. That is friendship.
Yeah. I'm curious what you guys think, like this phrase of like having a third space, and just your thoughts on that and in general. Because when when that phrase was kind of like trending, I guess I would say, or the first time I heard it, there are definitely things that came to my mind, and I'm like, wow, how people seemingly, it's like you used to go to and there still are people who go to a physical office, like they go to work and they go home. And then it's like, okay, but where else do you go? Like, how do you meet people? And some people now, their office is in their home. So it's like, okay, so is a third space really a second space now? And why do I want to say first base, second base, third base? But anyway, yeah, just curious, like what your thoughts are on all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think people inherently crave community in some capacity. I feel like we're hardwired for that. And technology has made it so where we feel connected to people, but we're actually more disconnected than ever before. So I think having a third space, whether that's something like She's on Edge or, you know, a kickball league or church or whatever it is for you, is just a really important way to stay like rooted in, I think, ultimately what we need to function as a society, being able to depend on people, being able to commune with people, laugh with people, shoot the shit. And I think community, Nadia and I have talked about this a lot. Community and friendship are not mutually exclusive. Like, you can have friends that are in your community, but like community is there for you in a different way than like your best girlfriend is. And I think, you know, carving out spaces for community, for friendship and platonic love. And then, you know, if you so choose to have romantic relationships, great. But I think when you just focus on one thing, and I think in our society, there's so much pressure on romantic love and that being the main focus, I think we lose sight of like what makes being human beautiful and complex and rich. So yeah, I think that's why third spaces are really important. And I think why She's on Edge has resonated with a lot of women.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting too. I feel like I have seen some other just like groups popping up around Charleston and stuff, facilitating that like community interaction, which is, it's just really, it's cool, you know, and I feel like the pendulum always swings, you know, like we went really hard one way and now we're like going back the other way. And I'm just so curious what that's going to look like, you know, 5 years from now, and even more, you know, and how we're going to like evolve with that. So many questions, but yeah, Nadia, did you have anything to add? Or
I think the one thing that I think about a lot is the way that like patriarchy and capitalism really attacked the third space for us, and how at one point we all lived in community and we all helped each other with everything we needed and we had everything we needed. And I think that there was probably an intentional or out of necessity move towards like capitalizing on all of these needs that we had. So like at one point we would all help each other watch our children, and now we're hiring help to watch our children. We're hiring babysitters or nannies. Like if you wanted to spend time in community, you could go meet somewhere, and now we have to go to a bar and we have to buy drinks and we have to or go to a concert and buy tickets, and like everything has become monetized. And I think it's really intentional that all of the third spaces are no longer free third spaces. And I think it's really important for She's on Edge that we are always going to keep our meetups free, because we've lost so much of our community in that way. And I think there's another organization, Salty Mamas, which works kind of like as an offshoot of She's on Edge. And they're a group of moms, and they go and they surf together and they watch each other's kids as they surf. And I think that's a really good example of a way that we've kind of reclaimed that part of community of like, how can we look after each other? How can we be, you know, working for each other, working with each other to fight this. Everything we need is going to cost money. And if you don't have money, then you can't access that third space. You don't have the luxury of that third space.
Yeah. So interesting that you bring this up, because I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. I'm just like, literally a lot of these struggles exist just because like we fucking made up a money system, you know, like I'm like, yeah, you used to have a neighbor who bakes the bread, another one who has the herbs, another, like you just exchanged in community. Like,
Tradesies.
yeah, like
Yeah.
why the fuck?
The
Like,
homie economy.
oh
Mm.
my gosh. And
Bring back the homie economy.
bring it back.
But it's like, I honestly, it's crazy. It's like, when we're on She's on Edge, we usually try and have a space at the end where it's like, if you need something, let somebody know. Because you can post on Facebook, you can post on Instagram, but we're really relying on the meta to get your message out there of whatever you need, when we need to be relying on our community. Like, word of mouth is so powerful. Like, we had people be like, oh, my roommate's offering drummer lessons if anybody wants to learn to drum. Like,
Cool.
I don't want to learn how to drum, but like somebody
I
out
do.
there that might
Yeah,
have it.
I'm like,
Mara, I can connect you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's just the idea of being like, we don't need to pay to get our needs met always, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the other side of that too, I think, is when you build communities like this, is having and building the confidence and courage to ask for that help. Because I think that can also be very hard and sometimes cringy if you are in sort of like the technology space where you're like blasting it out, like you said, like you're relying on this meta kind of unseen thing, where it's, if you're in a community, it's sometimes harder to ask for those things. But if you're in, this group setting that you build these relationships with people, you become more confident and courageous to be able to ask for that help. Because I know that can be really difficult for people.
Yeah, because you feel
That's such
safe.
a good point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that we've been ashamed. We've been shamed to not ask for help.
Right.
But for why? Like, is that really in our values? Do we really think that we're a worse person because we need help with something? If we don't have a resource, is that really our fault?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and just as women too, I think, just to like round out that sort of pressure, and not to say that, Liz, you touched on a little bit too, like how men do go through a lot of the same things, but it's like we just don't all talk about that shit. So it's just the pressure of like of being the all-encompassing woman who can, be the mom and go to the full-time job and also be a homemaker and all. It's like,
it's like, bro,
we weren't created to do all those fucking things, and that's what you had the community too as your backup to help offset those things. So yeah, what you guys are doing is just so impactful and important, and just building this safety for people is just so exciting, and I'm just honored to know you guys. It's awesome. And sparking the ideas of other people to like start communities within their communities,
Oh, well, that's so kind of you to say.
Yeah, it's definitely been like bumps in the road along the way. Some of the things that we've run into, like one of them being, where do we draw the line on how, like, what resources we can offer? And so like we have a group chat, and the group chat has over like 275 people in it. So how do we manage that where people are still getting what they need, but also not like to the point where it's just getting blown up and no one's utilizing it anymore. So like navigating that space has been really, really challenging, and trying to set boundaries for ourselves as well, just as individuals.
Boundaries are hard.
Yeah. And I think another thing that we've saying come to terms with sounds very dramatic, but I think we have kind of come to terms with the fact that like She's on Edge is not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. And that's not us saying it's not for everybody. It's, I think especially given our foundation, and how we started and how much time and energy we put into talking about women's reproductive rights and health and women's rights in general, because that's gotten so politicized, unfortunately, even though it is not a political issue, it's a human rights issue as far as we're concerned. Sometimes people balk at that, including even women. And so, I know that there are folks who say, well, I just want to surf. I don't want to talk about the bad stuff. And that's perfectly okay. They have every right to feel that way. But, we're really rooted in this mission to create a more egalitarian society that supports women. And so we're not going to stop having that be at the forefront of the conversations that we have and the advocacy work that we do. So, yeah, that's just something that's been important to us, and understanding that it's okay if not everyone is down for that.
Yeah, well, that's how it like unravels, like your
Hmm.
foundation kind of breaks apart if you allow the outside noise to kind of dictate where you take She's on Edge. So, yeah, kudos to y'all, because it's hard. It's hard when you're getting feedback and you want to implement those things without compromising, the foundation of what you guys are doing. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I was going to say something. I can relate in the sense that, sometimes I'm always like, I want everyone to be happy, like everyone come in, and the reality is like, people have their own experiences, their own backgrounds, their own, all that. And that's just not going to be the case. And it's okay, because staying true and having integrity to what your foundation is and what your value is and what you stand for allows the people who are looking for that support to find you easier. And so it really is like it I don't know. I guess it's it can be hard at times, but like so essential. Like it could be like
I so relate to that though. I'm like one of those people who's like, they don't like me, they don't like us. But why?
Yeah.
It stresses me out, because it's like I want everyone to feel good and seen, and it's like it's stressful when it's not received in the way that you intend it. But unfortunately, that's just an important life lesson. Not everyone is gonna like you, and that's okay.
Right.
Have you guys
Right?
Have you guys heard?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Laugh, right?
Have you guys heard of that book, On Our Best Behavior, by Elise Lewin?
Yes.
Lonan? Oh God. Have you read it?
Yes.
Did you guys
it was actually
that's perfect.
We did, yeah. So we haven't talked about our book club, but in addition to our Surf and Skate meetups, we also have a book club that meets monthly, and that was created with a couple of intentions. One, Nadia and I just love to read and love to talk about the books that we read, but also, skating and surfing, they're extreme sports. And for people who started out like me with not really envisioning themselves in that avenue, by having this book club, it's a great entry point into like, let me just see what this group's about. Let me see what these girls are like. So anyway, we have monthly book club meetups, and we did read On Our Best Behavior for one of those book clubs. And I was shocked. I mean, I really, she did not read it. She did not come to that book club, but I was shocked that more people didn't enjoy it. I was one of the few that really found it to be profound and interesting. I think my one gripe was probably that it was written almost through like a very rooted in science lens, like the studies that were being pointed to weren't really named and called out in detail, that made me feel comfortable with this as fact. But in terms of things, just like talking points and conversation points for like the female experience that I have had, I was like, yes, resonates, love it, feel it, so I liked it in that sense. But I definitely see how it could be a polarizing book. But what were your thoughts?
That's so surprising that the group didn't really resonate with it, because I agree with you totally. Like, I think she got a little caught up in like making sure that and I think she even talks about this too, is she got a little caught up with citing every single thing instead of just kind of giving her perspective on it with that kind of foundational backing of it. But yeah, there are a lot of things in there that were very eye-opening about, just how we are people pleasers as women and kind of like how we got there and why we got there, and at least giving just some kind of like context for that just made me sort of be able to understand why I have some of the behaviors that I do around people pleasing. So that's why I like that, and why, you're talking about with She's on Edge, like yes, you want people's feedback, but it's like, not everybody's going to fucking like you. And you have to be okay with that. So a part of that was in that book for me. But yeah, I really like that for sure. Cause it's like, it's not even either being aggressive about it either, like fuck everybody and like fuck the whatever, but being more confident in who you are and being okay that that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You'll find your people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of the things we talked about in the Paddle Against Patriarchy this year is like these internalized oppression moments where like things have been told to us for a long time that we need to be a certain way or act a certain way. And at some point we just take it on and we take on all these things. And like, there needs to be some accountability on our end to, like you're saying, like own up to some of these things and change our behaviors. But also recognizing that it's like, this isn't our fault that this happened to us, but we still need to take responsibility and ownership of that this was like an internalized thing. And now I need to change this behavior or attitude.
Yeah, totally. I still have I never went to a book club meetup because unfortunately I am just not an avid reader. It's really sad. But I did get the Women on Water. What's the name of that book? Oh my gosh.
Is it Women and Water, right? Women and Water?
Yeah, or Women on Water or something. It's literally,
I have it somewhere around here.
I know, I was just looking at it the other day. But I love that book because there's like those big pretty pictures. And I've been reading that, and yeah, I think that's really I want to say smart, but that's not like what my heart is feeling to say. Like, it's really smart that you guys opened up another avenue for people to be included in the community. I say smart because I'm thinking like business strategy wise, but my heart is like, like that was so sweet. Okay.
Yes.
So nice.
But what I love about our community is it really is a diverse group of people in terms of background and life experiences. And I think that translates to the book club as well. One of our board president, Rachel Stein, said the other day, what I love most about the She's on Edge book club is, unlike a book club I'd have with my friends, where I could almost tell you how people are going to feel about a certain book just because I know people so well, I couldn't possibly predict how people are going to feel about a particular book. And I love how diverse the perspectives are, how hot the takes are, how just like unique of an experience it is to talk about a particular book when you've got women who, like I said, have had just so many different life experiences, whether they have kids or whether they've, work on cars or they're a dancer, or, whatever it is. It's like so cool to just have your perspective and your worldview open from these conversations. So
yeah. Such a good point. It's because that's so true with all my good friends. Like, we can look at something or watch something or the same reel, and I'm like, oh, I know what this person's going to say. But, that's what's so exciting when it's like getting out of your echo chamber. And like you get to hear new perspectives that might spark something within you. That's like, oh, fuck, I didn't think about it that way. Okay, then you just grew a little bit. You just expanded a little bit. And that's so exciting. I think some people can be so afraid of hearing someone else's opinion that's very different of theirs because, it's like, oh, wait, that makes me question how I think about it, and it's like, just chill, bro. Like just observe it. This person can have this thought, this experience, and maybe it makes you ask a question. That's harmless.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's like you can sit and reflect and not, I think people just take it so personally. It's like when they hear somebody else's opinion, you can just hear their opinion and not feel like you have to integrate it into your life. It's like, it's totally okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
It takes a lot of capacity, I think, to be able to do that. And at least for me, it's been a practice to be able to get to that place. And I'm definitely not perfect. Of course, I'm triggered by some things I hear. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then, but then other times I'm like, okay, Mara, like, tranquilo, like, let's just listen. All right. It's all good.
That is an interesting point.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, but on the inside, I want to fight.
Yeah.
Just pretend we have a mustache and.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I mean, I don't have any other questions, Mara. You got anything?
I mean, we could sit here and talk forever, but I'm going to be respectful of everyone's time today. And we hope to be able to continue to have these conversations, and maybe we have another conversation in the future. And there's tons of things we could talk about, more of the events, our collaboration in the past of like doing a speed dating thing, like all those little fun nicks and crannies of these experiences. But yeah, I'm really excited to share this. Thank you so much for being open and sharing parts of your journey. I think that's really cool. At least for me, I've known you all for a while, and I learned something new about each of you, and I know y'all have some big fangirls out there who are going to love to hear it too, so thanks for sharing.
No one knew how small my ears were until this.
No one knew that Liz's ears fall off.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Thank you for bearing with that. And thank you for having us. This was so fun.
Yeah, totally. We'll definitely do it again.
We would be honored to come back. Thank you.
All right, guys. Until next time. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.